Talk about sick bastards. What I learned from the J6 committee hearing last night is truly the depth of the orange vomit Donald Trump's insanity, his sickness, his psychopathology. This is one sick fucker. I mean, beyond anything that I had surmised over the 4 or 5 years that this filthy pig has floated into the consciousness, my consciousness, and the consciousness of everybody. A sick bastard. He really does belong, I should say, in some sort of institution, either a mental institution or a prison, one of the two. Given his age, and there is a theory among psychotherapists that beyond a certain age, people who are this fucked up, this sick, really can't be helped with therapy. So, because of his age, I would think that the institution he belongs in is a prison until this rotten son of a bitch dies. I hope that Merrick Garland, the would-be U.S. Supreme Court Justice, but who, thanks to Mitch McConnell, winds up as the Attorney General of the United States, I hope that Merrick Garland is doing what he said, taking notes, paying attention. He didn't say taking notes, but, paying close attention to the crimes that this filthy, rotten Donald Trump committed against the United States, against the Constitution, against the people of this country. And like I said, he is probably one of the most disturbed people I have ever read about who was in a position of extreme unbridled power that the President of the United States, no matter who it is, finds themselves. Extreme power in the hands of a filthy, rotten son of a bitch, a psycho. And I know we're supposed to have some sympathy or at least some sort of caring feeling for people who are mentally disturbed. That's always been my position too, but not this bastard. Not this rotten Donald Trump. I wish him, when I think about him, nothing but the worst possible fucking circumstances that will intrude on his life because of what he tried to do to 335 million Americans and God knows how many people around this planet. What a horrifying person this guy is. So, the House J6 committee, in what was being billed, and I hate to use that term, but what the hell is being billed as the last of this series of hearings of the attack on the United States Capitol. By any estimation, the committee delivered a stunning account last night as to what happened during the more than 3 hours that this orange bastard wandered around saying nothing while an attack on the United States continued without restriction. What happened in those 187 minutes that passed between the orange vomit's little speech on the ellipse and the release of the video telling his supporters to go home? And what was interesting to me was to watch that filthy fucker trying to put together the video that eventually went out to his brain-dead cult supporters, who also should be rounded up and disposed of, one way or the other. No, I'm not talking about executions, except the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers, those people who were armed and involved in a military operation. Yes, they should be rounded up and shot. No, I'm sorry, rounded up and hanged. Isn't that what we do to war criminals of that sort? People attack the fucking United States. And we're supposed to believe these fascist Christian terrorists that this was an attempt to, what, stop the steal? No, thank you. I'm not going to go there. So the ones who have had military training, who have at one time or another in their lives, these hypocritical fuckers, taken the oath to defend, protect the Constitution of the United States from enemies, domestic and foreign, and then became an enemy, domestic enemy. Those are the ones, to me, who should be put on trial for, I would say, treason, because if what they did against the capital of the United States was not an act of war, what the fuck is? I mean, what is an act of war if an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States doesn't qualify? But, of course, I'm an hysteric at heart about these matters, which is obvious if you listen to this podcast long enough. You probably walk away thinking, Jesus Christ, the man's an hysteric. Yeah, you bet your ass I am. When it involves topics like this, or global warming, or the destruction of a woman's right to privacy, you know, those things, yeah, I get out of control. But I digress. So to those former military scum who at one time or another took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States and then get involved in trying to tear down and destroy the United States, yeah, to me, that is treason. Hang the fuckers. A lot of people, including the Orange Vomit's own family members, of course, they're a bunch of fucking criminals too, but all of these people, even the filth and the scum on the Fox sewer, pleaded with Trump to issue a statement condemning the violence. But as became apparent during the hearing last night, whether you listened to Benny Thompson's recorded opening or Benny Thompson's recorded closing, and all in between in the 2.5 hours that the hearing went on, Trump, this filthy son of a bitch, would do nothing. It didn't make any difference who asked him, begged him, pleaded with him. It made no difference. This is what I mean. This fucker is so far gone into the realm of madness that it's just astonishing that there are people in this country, millions of them, who will vote for this filthy son of a bitch come November 2024 if the filthy son of a bitch decides to run again for the presidency. That's the part to me that is just mind-bending. The list of people who Trump did not call as the violence that he organized, instigated, directed as it was unfolding. The list of people he didn't call, that the committee made very clear, is very revealing. It includes the Attorney General, didn't call him. Secretary of Defense, didn't call him. Any leader in the military, never made a phone call. Even though he knew, this orange bastard knew, within 15 minutes of finishing his little speech on the ellipse, that a violent mob, armed, was attacking the U.S. Capitol. He never, not once, intervened. And as Jennifer Rubin points out in a column she has at Washington Post this morning, she writes, quote, "The absence of entries in the White House call logs and the presidential diary, as well as the erasure of texts between Secret Service agents during those crucial hours, suggests a cover-up." Yes, a cover-up indeed. And when it's discovered who in the Secret Service chain of command is involved as being a Trump fellator, that person or those persons should also be added to the list of people who are put on trial for their fucking lives because they were part and parcel of an attempt to overthrow the government of the United States, to destroy this country. And these fuckers, whoever they are tasked today with protecting Joe Biden. There is not a single government agency that Trump wasn't able to corrupt and infiltrate with his scum fucking Nazi supporters. Christian terrorists, every one of them. And Rubin points out that before last night's hearing, there was only some speculation that Trump was working through his lieutenants, his Goebbels and his Himmler, that would be Michael Flynn and Roger Stone, to activate the violent mob. But last night, the committee revealed that Trump called his lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and again just after 2 p.m., at 1:39 p.m., and again just after 2 p.m. Giuliani, this senile fuck who holds press conferences in front of a paint store? Was that what it was? And if you remember Cassidy Hutchinson, who served as a top aide to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, previously testified that she heard mention of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers during a planning for January 6th when, quote, Mr. Giuliani would be around, end quote. Trump organized this with the help of these traitorous filth, these filthy bastards with Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, to overthrow the government, to overthrow the country, to destroy the United States after all that we've been through, after all that we've tried to do, after the assaults that are going on 24/7, 365 in this country now, from the fascist right in this country, the Christian terrorists. These Proud Boys and Oath Keepers are in the front lines of people trying to destroy the country. God damn, I'll tell you, the country is safe knowing that I am not the Attorney General, or I am not king for a day of this country. According to Rubin, by 10 minutes before 2, on January 6th in the afternoon, the mob was massing at the Capitol, and the Fox shit sewer was covering the chaos. Trump tweeted out video of his inflammatory speech. Former White House counsel Pat Cipollone testified that he and others forcefully, that's his word, tried to convince Trump to call up the mob. Cipollone said he and others specifically discussed the chance by rioters to hang Mike Pence, which Cipollone described as outrageous. Now, where is all this leading? I don't think there's any doubt, there shouldn't be, that this committee is providing prima facie evidence. What needs to be investigated by the Justice Department? The evidence is there, and this evidence is not coming from those terrible goddamn Democrats or Nancy Pelosi or any of the left-wingers. The evidence has come from Republicans and people who worked directly for this filthy, rotten Donald Trump. That's where the evidence is coming from. And this is the sort of evidence that the Justice Department needs to demonstrate the orange vomit's intent if the Justice Department finally brings charges of conspiracy to defraud the U.S. and conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Doesn't that just sound so weak to you? Conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. That sounds like somebody who starts screaming at a school board meeting. Trump was trying to destroy the United States. One unnamed witness described the radio communication with the Secret Service detail for Pence while the Capitol was under siege. Did you hear that? Where Secret Service people who were tasked with protecting Pence were asking their comrades to let family members know that the people directly with Pence were in a position where their lives were in danger and they might fucking die. And they were asking their colleagues, hey, listen, let my family know I love them, that kind of stuff. This witness, whose voice I believe his identity was disguised, revealed that the officers, quote, were starting to fear for their own lives, end quote. And the radio messages that we listened to last night, the witness described as, quote, disturbing. There were calls to say goodbye to family members, end quote. We heard it. So this mob that Trump organized, assembled, summoned, and were working because they are so fucking insane that they are willing to follow a cult leader who is equally insane. They were targeting Pence. Pence. The guy who spent 4 years staring at the back of Trump's head as if he wanted to mount Trump and have sex with him. Pence, who never said a fucking word to contradict the madness that was just erupting out of Trump's mouth for 4 years. They wanted to go for Pence and kill him. Why? Because the orange vomit was pissed off that Pence would not take that final step and violate the law and his own oath to defend the Constitution. It was at that moment that the orange bastard, this rotten Trump, decided to pour gasoline on the fire, I believe is the metaphor that's being used, with that tweet that the orange vomit sent out at 2:24 p.m. claiming that Pence, quote, didn't have the courage, end quote, to halt what the Congress was charged by the Constitution to do. And the juxtaposition of that testimony and the orange vomit's filthy tweet was just staggering. This was a president of the United States, this hypocritical fuck who corrupted forever the oath of office to be president of the United States when his filthy mouth spewed it out to protect and defend the Constitution. Shit. Trump? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.